I hate racing you. I'm like, every time I get near JC, it's like, for sakes. Todd come in and he was just screaming, we've just won Bathurst.
And then we had like these big rubber things that were like blah, 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 blah. Welcome back, everyone, to Drivers Only, episode 6. We've got the Bathurst winners here, Brodie and Todd, the nut hazelnut, and me. So it's, look, I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm incredibly jealous. I've tackled this mountain 19 times and failed 19 times miserably. How's it feel to win the thing?
Oh, it's pretty big week for us, to be honest. I I guess coming off a Sandown, we didn't really have the result that we probably wanted. But
you could be a little bit more excited about it.
But it's like one of those weeks where it went so perfectly that it's just like unbelievable. So I think it's still settling in for me. For sure. I'm not sure about you, Hazelnut.
Well, I only got my voice back this morning, so I think that probably paints a picture of how I celebrated and enjoyed the moment. But yeah, as BK said, like I think we're in disbelief. Like I was almost in shock when Brodie crossed the line, to be honest. Just couldn't believe what we'd actually achieved, and we were so emotionless in the lead up to the event because we knew we had a good opportunity. But as you know, as a driver, you don't want to get excited because it's Bathurst. Anything can happen and will happen. So yeah, when it finally actually happened, it was unbelievable.
But there was one, you did have a little touch of the wall at one point in practice, wasn't it? I thought, Jesus, guys, put in a screamer and just got out of the car and packed it in. But what happened there? Just
I literally had so
you weren't happy with how fast you were? You would have been
well, I had with myself, but I literally had that day. So I wasn't feeling
physically.
I was feeling like horrible to the point where I was.
Brody was on the ultimate weight loss program.
Yeah, I was on the shred.
Taking it to the next level, isn't it?
Yeah, I was on the shred. So it was it was not good. So yeah, I wasn't feeling really good on Friday, and then on the Saturday I was minimal laps, just trying to. On the Friday I was just minimal laps, trying to stay fresh for qualifying, but it was getting a bit of double vision and all that sort of stuff going on, a bit feverish. So yeah, I was glad to actually just put it in the shootout, to be honest. So,
jeez, that's huge.
He looked at me Thursday. He's like, "You ready to put this thing in the shootout tomorrow?" I'm like, "What?"
You're getting all excited, rubbing your hands together.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it all worked out all right in the end. So thank God.
So what was different this year's campaign? Because obviously last year you had plenty of speed as well, but it didn't come out in the end. Why do you think it all come together this year? Like what made this year different?
I think going up against, we went up against Triple Eight last year, obviously, and going up against a team like that, with such a high pedigree, they've been dominant for such a long time. You have to have all of your ducks in a row, and you can't make any mistakes because they'll ultimately capitalize on them. So. We just made a few mistakes last year. Had a really fast race car last year, but just made a few strategic mistakes, and they capitalized on them. And going to this year, we said we'd be a bit more prepared, got some more manpower on board. So we had Blake Smith on board. And he was fantastic for our campaign, and we didn't put a foot wrong all day, and the car was fast again. So it just made our jobs a lot easier, and just kept us out in clean air.
And having Todd this year as opposed to D. Russ last year, with him coming off all that experience, and then obviously starting the season doing some running, do you think that had a big part to play in it?
Yeah, definitely. Todd's done a fantastic job. Even at Sandown, even at our test day prior to Sandown, just with the car balance and all that sort of stuff. It's it's been great. Been great working with him. He's obviously fresh out of the main game as well. So that was awesome working with Todd. We've gone back a long way. We used to live together, and it was cool to finally partner up. It was awesome.
So working with Brodie, everyone sort of talks about him being an amazing, obviously amazing driver, but also mechanically and engineering wise so cluey and sort of really knows what he wants and how to tune the car and works so closely with Big George. Was that for you? Was that a huge difference coming on from what you'd experienced previously, and then was that a surprise for you, or is it all crap, or does he really know what he's doing? Sometimes. We hear these stories about you drawing roll bars and all sorts of stuff.
No, it's legit. And I saw what Brodie was like back when we used to live together back in 2017 and 18. And I used to spend more hours on CAD, drawing up pedal boxes and making all sorts of weird stuff for his Super 2 car back in the day. And I knew I knew there and then, I'm like, man, if this guy ever gets to main game and actually gets his together, he's going to be hard to beat one day.
Still working that out.
And
We all are, mate.
Here we are. We won Bathurst. So, yeah, as you mentioned, like watching BK and George work together, they get on together like a house on fire. They both complement each other so well. So I'm sure, as you know, JC, when you get that engineer that can understand your language and they know how to bounce off you straight away, there's no ifs or buts or maybe. They make a decision, they just run with it. There's no questioning itself. And I think, it's quite comical watching Brodie. He's always pushing Big George to try and do something or make something happen. And there's always a little bit of pushback there from George. But I can't fault Brodie because every time we made a change based off his feedback, the car was instantly better every time. So, yeah, when you get into that scenario, it's pretty cool.
Hit you up with some text messages over the
I did get a few for review drives.
Yeah. Big Jacko's hard on the Brodie text.
Yeah.
And I'd read some quotes. You were saying how amazing it was, and you knew you had all that speed, and you just had to focus on your job and executing it. There had to be one time at some point over that week where you thought, I've gone in a bit quick here. Was it in the race? Was it in practice? Because you're wanting to push as well. You're wanting to showcase your ability. Was there any moments that weren't caught on camera where you were just like, hope no one saw it?
No, to be honest, I actually had a clean weekend. So I was boring after Sandown. I think I probably did all the excitement at Sandown.
Sandown was pretty exciting for you.
Tried to get the goat out of the way, and that didn't work too well for me. Nearly put myself in the fence.
The goat jammed his horn in your tyre.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And I nearly went set sailing off at turn 6 again. So I thought I'd better not do that again. But even in we did all of my race runs in the co-driver sessions, it was
because your speed in the race was. I think you're faster. Your average time was faster than our fastest lap time. So that's pretty. That's not easy for me to take. But anyway,
the car was seriously hooked up, and we had clear air for most of the day. The only real probably scare I had was just the lap traffic. There was blue flags coming out, and drivers were just ignoring, which I get when you're in the big race. You don't want to go a lap down because it stuffs up your whole strategy. But I think with the lucky dog rule now, if it's not your day, just get out of the way. And for me, first time leading a great race, being in a position where I know we could get a great result, it was, that gets the frustration level up pretty quickly. And I think I got on the radio to the boys, and I showed blue flags like 3 laps in a row to Cam Hill. I just said, I got on the radio and said, for f***'s sake, Matt Stone, if you're scanning my radio, please get this guy out of the way. Just someone listen to me.
We
no
could
one
do a
else
Most it and just fence him.
Yeah,
like you did to
that
Chowder.
as well. But, so, yeah, you get into that situation where you start becoming a bit desperate because, I was watching my gap to Brock. He was, co-driving up against main drivers. So I was already white knuckle fever as it was trying to maintain that gap. So when you get a car parked,
was that the time when you thought you'd gone too hard?
So that was the moment. That was the moment right there.
Out.
So
there's always one moment.
That was a little scare for me. Moment. So other than that, good day.
But I managed to jump in amongst the leaders there at the end. I'm not going to lie. I saw you coming, and I was like, I'll let you pass. We weren't going to make it on fuel, we didn't think anyway. So I wanted you to go past, and then I got in between because I was like, those guys. I wanted you to win, and also get some airtime for Snowy, which is...
Mate, you finished P2 in a great race.
That's right. I just got the timing mixed up. We're just a lap down. But what about you, bro? Any times, apart from that one in the thing, anything in the race that you thought, holy crap, that was close?
I had a moment actually down the hill in the first stint where... I'm not sure whose idea it was to put the yellow sand, where they filled up the holes with yellow sand behind the curves. But I guess someone went a little bit wide or something, put yellow sand on the track going down the hill, and I almost fenced it going down like it was pretty close, similar to what actually Dave did.
Yeah.
So Brock was pretty behind me on that. After the race, he come back to me, he goes, "Holy f***, I don't know how you didn't crash going down the hill because it was,
Did you see Moffs?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that was... Yeah,
took the safe road and then nearly fenced it.
Just like a millimetre off.
It just proves you're never safe at that place. Like you're driving around on a, it's a pretty small racing line and it's a street circuit at the end of the day. And it's just one little mistake can put you out pretty quick.
Especially on that hard tyre. Oof.
Yeah,
scary.
But it was so sketchy. Even when you backed off for me, I think it was pretty exciting anyway. But over Skyline, when you backed off and tried to roll through there, if you caught those curbs wrong, it was going to bite.
Yeah,
and then you're like a half a foot wide, and it's all that yellow sand stuff. So
yeah, it was knife edge all weekend, and it wasn't a crazy the build up to the race. It was people running off every session, people in the sand trap, big shunts and quality. It's like, man, it sort of had like 2014 vibes about it going into the race. And I think we both looked at each other on the grid for, well, we'll see what happens at the start of the race. It just felt like it was going to be one of those crazy old Bathurst days. And to go past lap 120 without a safety car, I was like, holy heck.
We were just talking before offline, like how we did that whole race with that front bar sitting down at the elbow. I saw it and I'm like, thank God, on my first, I'm like, it's going to bring the field back, but they kept running the whole day, and you said you didn't even see it.
I didn't even see it. It was pity it was facing, because I saw it was facing the wrong way, because it could have had free branding for the whole race if it was facing the right way. Yeah.
Maybe next time they can plan that.
Yeah, I saw the bumper come off, and I was like, oh, yep, here we go. Full course yellow. Jumped out, ready for pit lane, and
that could have been
never happened.
That could have been the safety car that could have set the whole race on fire, really. Yeah. Could have been. Who knows?
Maybe it would have closed
Thank God
up.
it didn't.
Yeah. But speaking of the full course yellow, what do you... we went into the weekend. They told us it was going to be 120, went back to 80, 120, 80, ended up being 80. How do you think it went in the race? Everyone's had their own opinion about it, but...
I'm not a really big supporter of it, to be honest. I think it has its place, like picking up that front bar that was sitting...
That didn't happen?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, that didn't happen. But, yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I think it ruins a lot of the spectacle of the show. And statistic-wise, it actually hasn't been safer. There's been more incidents under full course yellow, and it's easy to say, yeah, we're supposed to be going slower, when the yellows are out and whatnot, but we're all paid to drive the car as fast as possible. So, and, if we don't do that, we could be out of a job. So it's a hard line to draw, but I think the old system was far better, in my opinion, as far as for the show. And also, we knew where the crash was, with the old system, and we knew not to blaze past it. And, we're still blazing past cars now because we have 25 seconds. So I don't see how it's really helped that.
Yeah, I think the hard thing watching, like, I guess from an Erebus point of view, watching car 9, like Jack LeBrock was comfortably running 4 full day. FCY come out and he got absolutely sunk because of that system. Yes, we probably could have maybe double stacked and we could have managed it better, but yeah, he come into pit lane and then they decided to put the green light on to catch the safety car. So all of a sudden you got cars speeding up in a yellow environment. So it was all a little bit messy, but as we all know, we're trying to make our sport safer and better. But yeah, still needs some work in my opinion, but hopefully we'll get there.
So, righto. Didn't really get anything juicy in the race there anyway, but podium had to have felt pretty amazing up there. Everyone running out on the track. He's been on the sides, each side last couple of years watching someone else celebrate. That must have been pretty emotional. Yeah,
it was for myself. And, those last 30 laps there were, grueling. They were so intense. And,
because the gap was close with you guys, wasn't it?
It was within a second for a lot of, for over 50% of that last stint. And, I've got a display on my dash that shows me how far, Brock was behind me. And I'd be going down the hill every lap, pretty much hanging my balls out on the line, ready to write this Chico roll off. And
roll it through the sand.
Yeah, roll it through the sand. And I'd get to Forest Over and I'm like, surely I've put a gap on this little prick behind me, and it'd come out exactly the same, and I'd be like, how much more have I got to do to at least have a safe buffer that's if I were to make a small mistake, that he wouldn't be able to attack me. And once we got across the checkered flag, it took a while for it to actually all sink in because the adrenaline was so high, from pushing, for so long. And once I got back to the podium, and actually Todd come in, and
it was cool watching you too.
Todd come in and he was just screaming, "We've just won Bathurst!" And I was like, that's when it started to realise, I'm like, oh, we've just won Bathurst.
Yeah.
So really cool moment for myself. Great to see the emotion on Todd's face. He's obviously had a very interesting path through supercars, and what the sacrifice that his family's made. So that was really cool to see the emotion on his face.
What about you, mate? I saw your mum and dad out the back, and I saw you guys rolling back through after the podium and press conferences and all that stuff, and you can see so much emotion still. It must be, you can see it now. It looks like you're welling up. It must be pretty
still feel
amazing.
A bit weird thinking about it. And
it's a cool one to win your first one. You win Bathurst.
It's unbelievable. Obviously it's absolute dream come true. I was still in nappies watching you race around, thinking how cool would that would be.
Age. Let's just talk about you.
You still look great.
It's, everything that I've ever dreamt of since I was a kid. I still remember watching the race 3-4 years old and being obsessed with the race. I love the history and everything like that. So, yeah, to get a win was one thing, but to get it at the great race, seriously, like someone hit me. Like it's unbelievable. But yeah, like as Brodie said, like I felt like I was a bit the same because the race at the end was so intense, and like I had everything crossed. I had my fingers crossed. Like I've never crossed my fingers for a race before. Like what the hell? And my fingers are going
You're
purple.
a 12-year-old schoolboy.
Yeah,
again.
I'm like trying to scan the radio and I'm trying to press buttons while I've got my fingers crossed.
I don't want to push Brodie's button and confuse him.
Exactly. You know, like it was just all happening, and it was actually when we got past you on corridor, I think, oh, okay, we might actually be able to do this. And then when you got to the last corner, it was like just went into complete shock. You know, like holy from Bathurst. Basically, that was all that was going through my mind. I think that was all I was saying at that time. So yeah, seriously cool moment. You know, as Brodie said, when it means so much, there's so many emotions that go through the body all at once. And I think when Rihanna was interviewing me at the end, and I felt like I was actually going to pass out just through pure emotion. So I know it sounds silly saying it out loud, but you know, I guess that's how much it means to us as drivers.
You see it in your faces, and
yeah,
like you've won the championship, won Bathurst now. But I've only done one. Come on, tell me the championship's better.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Winning Bathurst is, you know, really, really cool, and you know, like some drivers go their whole career without winning a race.
Oh.
You know, let alone trying to win that race.
That was nearly me.
Well, you started with a good one. But yeah, it was an awesome feeling. But I think the championship still means, you know, a lot to me. You know, being the best over the course of the whole season is you know, something I'm, you know, really proud of. And but yeah, really cool to win the race.
Must have felt pretty cool after, you know, all they don't have to go into it, but all the drama from this year with what you guys have been through, and then to come and win the grand final of our sport must have been pretty rewarding for you as well. Not only, you know, the Bathurst win, but for what's happened in the backstory. Yeah,
definitely. I think for myself, you know, when I come back, the whole goal was to win that race. That was something that we didn't win last year, and we obviously won the championship last year, and you know, we set out to win that race, and it was just one of those really strange weekends where I went into the race thinking we can only lose it pretty much by you know, making a mistake. So we knew that we sort of got the car back into its, you know, performance window, and you know, I was feeling pretty confident from Sandown and you know, the round before. So yeah, it was a really good round for myself. I just felt great behind the wheel the whole time. The boys did a fantastic job with the car. There was not one single mistake on the car the whole weekend. A few vibrations coming from the tyres, but that was about it.
Yeah. Even though we myself.
Yeah,
pretty much. Literally.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the seat.
Oh, sham wow in between, just in case for the drive changes.
We did joke on Saturday. We're like, we're going to have to put a garbage bag in this seat. Like, I don't want to be sitting in that. Like,
Brodie gets in with an adult diaper.
Yeah,
a little
nappy.
So afterwards, podium, done all the stuff, went back, saw the team. Have you guys have you had any sleep yet?
I've had some sleep now, but yeah, Todd was he was saying his fingers were going purple. His face was definitely purple that Monday morning. I actually
looked a bit rough on TV.
I've got a good picture actually.
So I'd like to see it.
I was absolutely brain fried.
So I went. I said, right, we got back at like five in the morning to where we were staying, and I said, mate, we're going to be up in an hour to go do media stuff, and he's like, holy. Just wake me up. So I walked into his bedroom, and
this is set up for sure.
And he was somehow has taken a painting off the wall of a deer and has slept with a painting of a deer.
Stop.
Oh, can you show that to that?
I even asked Jack. I'm like, Jack, did you put that on my bed when you like left to go to the airport?
Yeah. So I'm sorry to the people that we.
At least you didn't raid their closet and start wearing their clothes.
I was staying in a little girl's room.
All right, we'll move on from that.
Yeah, I reckon let's move on from that
one. So you're probably wanting to go across with Brodie next year? Or have you done it? Is your deal with a few years with these critters, or what's the deal there?
I think I'm still hungover from Sunday, so I haven't even thought about it next year.
That's very uncommittal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, so if Brodie says, come with me, you say, oh, I'm still thought about it yet.
Yeah. I got a cool opportunity where I can, work out what I'm going to do next year. Obviously, I've had a great opportunity with Erebus this year, and they've been fantastic to me.
So it was only just for one, like your setup that you've done this year?
Yeah, it was a 1-year deal, but, you know, still got to have that chat and spend the time with Betty and Baz.
For you now.
They gave me my first Bathurst and race win, so certainly wasn't a bad thing. And you know, obviously, they looked after me at the start of the year of everything that was going on as well. But you know, obviously, Brodie and I were good mates, and I'd love to try and obviously defend that crown. So
Must be annoyed it's not rolling into the Gold Coast Enduro now
I know,
as well.
right? I was thinking that today. I thought I just want to have one more crack to this year. It'd be good
That used
because
to be such a great round.
I reckon that was awesome. I thought they were going to
Oh.
bring it back for next year's calendar, but they didn't.
I used to love that round because I did the wild card there in 2019 with Jake the Snake.
Ooh, snaky.
yeah,
Where's the snake at nowadays?
He actually might be coming to Gold Coast actually.
That's
dangerous.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, jinx.
Called it.
So yeah, that was an awesome round.
Yeah, I think it's it just added that little bit more to it. Like it is a cool round, but it's sort of it is hard to pass and whatever. But when you had that strategy of having another driver in, I think it did add a little bit more. And I think it's something that event has been missing since we changed back to it. And I think for me, I reckon it'd be so much better if we did roll back into that. I'm sure Todd agrees.
Yeah, as a professional co-driver, one more round would be great.
So would you go back main game, or that's it now?
I think for the right opportunity. I felt like for me, the last few years in the sport, I just got so frustrated to the point where I just felt like I wasn't achieving anything as a driver. Like as drivers, we're wired to win. We want to do well. When your name's on the door, you're obviously representing the team, but it is very much an individual game at the same token. We basically all work as contractors in this game. So, for me, the last couple of years, I actually walked away from Bathurst last year, and I just promised myself I will never do this again. Like, if I keep doing the same thing and expect something better to happen, like, I'm kidding myself. So, and sliding, you talk about sliding doors moment in life. It was actually, I just spoke with Tim and John last year after Bathurst, and they said, look, we're not going to progress with you as a driver next year.
Boom.
And half an hour
I took
later,
that for
Barry
you.
Ryan, Barry Ryan reached out half an hour later and said, "Hey, we're looking at co-drivers for next year. Are you interested?" So here we are as Bathurst winners. So
You gotta
proof
be
in the
happy with
pudding,
that
I guess.
outcome.
Yeah, exactly right. I was pretty adamant I was doing the right thing, but until you get a result, it's probably hard to justify. But yeah, certainly looking back now, I had 7 years of frustration and 1 year as a co-driver and won the biggest prize in Australian motorsport.
I suppose the thing that's cool for you, like you've qualified on pole and you've done had spikes through your time in supercars at the moment in main game. You obviously did really well in Super 2, but to now come out and have the best team, it's the championship winning team, championship winning driver go up against like with Brodie all weekend. It must have been pretty rewarding for you to sort of see, and show that you are at the level where, as all drivers, we all have got confidence in our own ability. But the most frustrating thing I think about our sport is that we can have the most amazing race of our lives, but still come 25th. It's
Correct.
just, so frustrating. But for you, I suppose that last weekend must have been so rewarding in that you could have just sort of let go of all that baggage and that questions, and because everyone does question themselves. Like I've been doing this a long time, and you still question things that you do, but it must have been just a huge weight off your shoulders. You'd probably, if you rolled back to Bathurst this weekend, you'd probably be heaps quicker again.
I'll probably crash.
Try too hard.
I'd be too excited. No, yeah, exactly. Like to finally tick that box, I walked away into last year going, man, like if I was that frustrated to the point where I was like, I could almost walk away from the sport just from the frustration that I had. But the one thing that was keeping me in the game was like, well, haven't just worked my ass off to not win a race in supercars. I still wanted to tick that box. So yeah, to tick it now, yes, as you mentioned, huge sense of relief. But as you said, like, you put so much pressure on yourself to perform, and when it gets to the point where you think, man, is this actually ever going to happen? And that was starting to eat at me, especially the last few years. So yeah, to do that now is cool, and we'll see what happens from here on in. But just
It's also pretty
the
cool.
journey of motorsport, isn't it? Like it's such a cutthroat game. When you get to the top tier, it's so competitive. We saw on the weekend, 26 cars separated by just over a second at the Great Race. That's seriously impressive. So no one's out there just, making up the numbers, so to speak. Everyone can drive. So, yeah, it's just the journey of motorsport. There's so many moving factors to be successful. It's not just turning up and doing a really good job behind the wheel. You got to get the team around you. You got to get the engineer, like we spoke about, Brodie and George being a formidable partnership. You got to have all the key elements put together to even get a sniff of a win in supercars these days. So, yeah.
It's a pretty cool backstory, because I didn't realise you guys knew each other that well and lived together. Like, it must have been, like, I remember for me when I won that race with Jack, it was his first victory in the main game as well. And it was, like, for me, it made it even more emotional because he was a mate, and sort of being able to do that for him, it's probably the same for you, I guess.
Yeah, like Todd and I had probably like we had a really different path getting to where we are today, and living with Todd, a bit in 2017, 2018. I was always working on my own car and all that sort of stuff, and we was fortunate enough to have the the family backing in Super 2. But Todd's story was a bit different, where he had to go out and find the funding and spent every single last minute of every day trying to make each race type deal, where my story was a bit different, where I got to spend more time myself, understanding the cars and all that sort of stuff. So I had a really big appreciation for his work ethic, to just get to each event back then. And, what he did back then in 2017 to, win that championship against, those guys that he was going up against, like PD back in the day. There was times in, I think, I can't remember exactly when it was a few years ago, when he went quicker than the main game cars, back then in Super 2. So it was really competitive back then. So, I guess we both had really different journeys to this point, but it was really good to, work with Todd and get that win.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey?
Yeah.
Heartfelt moment.
Yeah, heartfelt moment. I still remember him going outside at Mount Tamarind and running up this really stupid big hill, wondering what the he was doing.
Back when I was young and dumb and used to run.
Now you run around a mountain together for 1,000 Ks. But I suppose moving on a bit, we've had the calendar come out for next year. Not taking anything away from the win. It was awesome, guys. My hat tips to you both. Hopefully I can do it next year. Or I can be your partner sometime, maybe, Brodie, and you can win it for me. But so the calendar, what do you think of the changes? You going back to QR. We didn't race at QR when you were in the main game, did we?
No, I've only tested.
2019 was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've only tested at QR, and the year that it went back to QR, I was out of Super 2 at that point because we're doing the wildcard stuff. But I think it's great that we're they've added one extra round. I'd still like to do more racing, obviously, but the calendar looks great. I think.
What do you think of the new points being the champion?
I was a bit unsure at first about what the format was, but I think they've got a really good, really good system going forward with it. So, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to promote, pretty hard racing. And, at the moment we've got, I think Will's got a 200-point lead over second. I think it's Brock now. And you can afford to be a little bit safe. But now with the new system, it's sort of like you got to be pushing the whole time.
Yep.
You can't afford to rest. So I think it's good. I think our sport is in need of a little bit of change for that. I think we have, people bang on about the racing not being great and everything else. But to be honest, like the racing's far better than any other, tin top stuff out there. I think, I think it's good for our sport, to be honest.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be pretty good because we'll have our final sort of run starting, or little championships or cups, they don't want to call it. What is it, the Sprint Cup and Enduro Cup? Getting the confirmation off the side. And then into that finals thing will be pretty cool because we don't really compete with any other sports through that phase because of, all the ball codes are done. The cricket hasn't really started up too much. So we sort of will get a big line share. And I think the drama that we've had as a championship previously is guys like you running away with the championship early or having, such a dominant season. Like, it's awesome. You want to do that, but it sort of probably does make those last few rounds a bit boring. But it's, not for the guys that are actually in there, but for spectators.
Yeah, I think like Brodie mentioned, the intensity dial is going to get massively turned up in those last two events. And we're not going to tracks where you can just cruise around either. Like, if you want to be fast at Gold Coast, you got to have a dip. If you want to be fast at Sandown, you got to be aggressive, and the same with Adelaide. So, especially when it's going to probably come down to qualifying, who can really throw it on the line and put a good lap together. Like, man, it's going to make it so exciting. I think at the end of the day,
what will be crazy is if one of those guys that's in that has an accident, and you have coming in, you've got a good points lead, and then you have an accident and you miss out. Like, there's going to be heartache stories, but I think that's
all part of it.
Yeah, that's just storyline.
That's just part of motorsport and part of sports in general. There's always going to be heartache somewhere. So
it's like the football codes. You got like guys that come in minor premiers and then lose, and they don't even make the final. But
no, I agree. I think it's good for our sport.
And the points gap you're happy with, isn't it 50 point spread, or it?
To be honest, I wouldn't mind if it got fully reset. To be honest,
zero.
So
boom.
I'm waiting for the call maybe in a couple of years where it's winner takes all last
round. Is that what they do in the NASCAR? They zero it. I don't really follow it too
I
much.
believe so. I can't really remember, to be honest. I just sort of, it's one of those things where they have, we do 3 races across a weekend where they only do 1. They go into the last round or last race and winner takes all out of the top 2 or top 4. I can't really remember, to be honest. But I assume
That'd be cool.
Yeah, well, I think we should get to that point eventually. But it's almost like we might need to have a different last round or something like that for that instead of going on the same track.
And all the races, a lot more races, double races on the Saturday, back to that craziness.
Yeah,
there's a few interesting changes, like even obviously the lack of testing, the lack of practice
2
at
days,
the events. So, and you're literally going to get thrown one compound on one day and different compound on the other.
Yeah,
so
so just going over it, it is only 2 test days, and we have to do them together. One's at the start of the year on the Wednesday, and then the Monday after the QR race.
Yeah, like you talk about making it tough for teams, like that's going to make it an absolute nightmare to try and get right. So I think
practice at the race is 30 minutes. Yeah, that's it. That's all we get.
I think it's pretty I think the more racing is definitely a positive, but I think it's one of those, like, the less practice is fine for, I guess, guys that are probably more experienced, like myself, yourself, and a few others. But it'd be harder for, like, we got someone like Kai coming in next year, who's going to have two.
Poor Kai.
Yeah,
I was going to say he's your teammate. He's not, is he?
No, he's he's off at Groves, but like 2 30-minute practices and going to 3 races. Like, he's done a bunch of racing in Super 2 or whatnot, but just don't want to make it too hard for those guys to get into the sport.
Speaking of Kai, I got told that he broke his collarbone in that accident.
What? No way.
Yeah. They juiced him up and he raced the rest of the weekend.
If that's true, that's seriously impressive.
Is this true?
That would have stung.
Yeah.
What a story. They kept that on the down low.
Yeah.
I thought myself was bad.
Yeah, no. Apparently, I don't think it was displaced and hanging out of the skin, but yeah, they said he did his collarbone and then they juiced him up and kept going.
It's like
That's
calling
why,
the
because he missed
Terminator.
that session.
That's some good juice. Yeah.
That is juicy. How do you reckon he's going to go next year?
I'm pretty excited. I've been pretty lucky to spend some time with Kai.
He's part of the whole, or he was part of the whole Norwell sort of stuff,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
I got to spend some time with him and Matt Gambier and introduced him to Paul Morris at Norwell Motorplex, and then into the Eggleston family, which is where I did my last stint in Super 2 in. So
they're good people.
The Egglestons are great people. They really gave me
awesome.
a lifeline in 2020 there.
But think of all the young guys that they've helped come through as well. Like, they're sort of the unsung heroes of
long list of names.
isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Sorry, continue on about.
Yeah, it's been I think he's got such a great talent, and it'll be interesting to see how he fits in at Groves and seeing his career play out. So hopefully it doesn't go too quick. We'll find out.
Speaking of people that doing so well, someone who didn't really surprise me, but he did really well on the weekend was little Aaron Cameron in our team. Like, he's a cracking little fella, and he drove the arse off that thing. He did really, really well, and he won his first Super 2 race, which was awesome. Was there anyone that on the weekend that surprised you, whether it be good or bad, main game or?
I think.
Please don't say mine.
No, I think for us, Erebus have their junior program, and Job Stewart got his win on the Saturday there, and Aaron was following 3 seconds behind when he had the power steering failure then, and then he was able to obviously deliver on the Sunday. So those 2 guys on the Saturday and the Sunday there on the Friday and Saturday were the standouts to me as far as the young guys, but. It's interesting watching it and seeing, it wasn't too long ago that I was, one of those guys trying to make a name for myself. So it's cool to see those guys having a crack. That's for sure. Yeah.
What about in our race? Was there anything that you were surprised at? Like, anyone do anything silly or?
We were hitting bugs the whole race, mate. We'd clean out.
Yeah. Well, you spent a bit of time in the garage kicking the heels up while Toddler was cruising around.
Oh, when he was cruising around, I was having a shower and on the
cleaning
toilet.
up the back door by the sounds of it.
It was. Yeah, it was like a tornado on the toilet.
Oh, but yeah, there wasn't any real incidents, was there?
No, I think.
Sorry, I jumped around a bit then. I just thought of that.
That boost Camaro that got in the way a few times, and I think that got a few drivers'
What
nerves
happened
up.
to Matty Payne at the top of the hill for that safety car?
Like
Did he
just a bad down change? Maybe I think they were talking about maybe had a gearbox issue, but it sounded like it went into gear, but just real tardy, and then it
because it got 3 of them. You got my little teammate Aaron, Scotty Pye, and him.
Yeah,
the 3 of them.
It is. It was.
I've been in there. It's not fun.
the cutting's taken a few big names over its time, but
the goat.
Yeah, the
Got his
goat's
horn in
been
the
in there.
fence.
Yeah, he's been in there a few times.
You watched him go in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, back in 2020 or whatever that was when I was co-driving. But I was surprised that there wasn't more of that in the race. But I guess once the track sort of rubbers in and like I said, it's got that street circuit vibe. But once it starts to rubber in, and the line becomes, instead of becoming it's two little train tracks that we follow, it becomes a little bit wider. It sort of becomes a little bit more forgiving. And compared to last year, they seemed a lot more forgiving, the cars. Obviously the setups get a little bit better, but the aero changes and whatnot made it probably a bit easier to drive. So I think that's why we probably saw less mistakes in the race than what we thought.
What do you think about the tyre?
To be honest, I knew the tyre was going to do nothing for the racing. To be honest, there's probably less marbles on the road, but it's sort of hard to pass around that place in general. As we all know, it's a great racetrack, but it is hard to pass. And for Brock to stay behind me in that stint, I thought that was impressive in itself because of the characteristics of the car. It's just physics. The car in front's always going to have slight advantage, but I don't know. I think I thought it was maybe a little bit easier to follow last year and maybe a little bit easier to pass than what's been this year. We've got a little bit bigger rear wing this year, so the aero balance is a bit more rearwards. So when you follow, it's a bit more punishing. So that's probably a little bit disappointing for myself.
There's some impressive towing down the straight, wasn't there? The old mate, little Will Brown pushing Cam past.
There was a bit of updrafting.
Yeah, a bit of shake and bake
there.
action going on.
Yeah.
It's cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There wasn't too many shake and bake the other way from the Ford to Camaro, though.
Was there?
Yeah.
Punching a big hole.
Yeah.
What's the go there?
Radio
Big,
silence on the other
draggy
side of the
holes.
table.
What's the go there, you reckon?
Well, I don't know. I was hoping it was going to be a lot.
At least you didn't snap a
lot
crank,
better.
Like
I didn't. What, sorry?
At least you didn't snap a crank, like
Yeah.
with all the question marks going into the race. That must have been pretty
pretty
frightening.
hairy.
Like,
we
watching all
got the
you
engine
guys-
on whatever it was Friday.
Yeah. How many
Thursday?
engine changes did you do over the weekend?
Just one for us.
Actually, Richie did tow up and actually try to pass me down a
Oh,
straight.
there we go.
lap
There is
one.
one.
Yeah,
That was
lap
actually-
one.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. That
Yeah.
was
actually
big
where I
for the
thought,
start
like,
of the race.
oh my
Yeah.
god, here we go.
That big coyote was turned up.
Pulling along.
Oh, she was going good.
Further instead away, straight down the inside. Oh, that's a bold move.
It's got a good one.
It was actually interesting, like watching all the Fords, like because we spoke about it internally, and it definitely looked
You
like
drove both quite quickly between the two. Did you, like, in all honesty, don't worry about the engine side of things, but I suppose it's very different teams, so don't worry about it.
Not
You
sure if
okay?
you want me to say something or not.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, like, it was interesting watching all the Ford teams. Like, it looked like Chaz didn't really have much in a straight line, but the two Penrite cars looked really strong all week. Like, even in the micros all weekend. So for whatever reason,
The way
with
they
set their car up, obviously
Even the DJI
it was a
cars
little bit
were
more
strong in a
slippery.
straight line.
Yeah.
Chaz
But,
seems at that place just to focus on the top of the hill and coming down. Like,
He's-
he's always has a great sector there, but
He's insane across the top and down, isn't he?
yeah.
He's always been good there.
Yeah, it was interesting because we both spoke about. We thought Chaz and Lee would be one of the ones to beat, especially with the pace they showed at the start of the year. Like Chaz was on the podium both days, in contention to win both races. So yeah, for him to be a little bit further back was interesting actually. But yeah,
Garth and Payne were not as speedy as I thought they were going to be either.
yeah. I think Garth ran down the escape road in the first stint, so that probably didn't help
Set
their
him back a
chances.
bit.
Yeah, sort of pushed him back a bit further. But yeah, like I think internally we sort of thought that probably Payne and Garth would be, in the top five, ones to beat.
Someone that was super quick, well, not as fast as you guys, but was that little Cooper Murray. Is that his name? Cooper Murray, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's his name.
Holy
Cooper.
crap. He went from the back and just was carving critters
motoring.
up,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Lunging guys at left, right, centre. That was
Wesmo
cool
must
to
have had a
watch.
pretty special setup in that,
That
thing. She was
moustache
pretty.
would have been
Yeah, she
flapping
was
around.
flickering, I reckon. Yeah, it was impressive.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
His grey ass and the
Yeah,
just
muchacho.
dirty black
Little
moustache.
old Luigi Wesmo.
yeah,
Yeah.
Luigi Mesmo.
It's a bit of spray can matte black on that thing. But no, he was speedy, wasn't he?
He was. No, he was seriously impressive, and yeah, I think they're on track for like a top 5, top 6 result until
He got
they
caught out with that
the FCY.
thing,
I was talking to Wes on Sunday night at the Ox after a few beers, and yes,
Oh, you remember?
I'm surprised you were talking.
that was before I had too many
Slurring?
beers. Yeah. But yeah, I think Wes was saying, he hit the button, didn't engage, and then as he got back on the throttle, it sped up to 120, and that's why they got the penalty. So maybe a little bit unlucky, maybe a little bit of a technical thing that happened there. But yeah, I think those guys did a great job. So proof in the pudding for Super Cheap, like 2 years in a row that car's sort of been up the front and in contention. So pretty cool program.
All right, moving on again. We'll try and get away from Bathurst. I always drag us back there. Going to the Gold Coast, what do you think? Is going to be more of the same? Who are you expecting? Expecting any standouts? What do you think the guys like Cam and Chaz are going to come back to the front a little?
I think Cam was strong there last year. I hope we're right up there. I was pretty good there the last. Dave and I had a ripping race there.
I sort of put my house down that you'll be there.
Dave and I had a ripping race there last year, so I'm hoping the same happens again. But I think it'll be your usual suspects up the front. The T8 guys and Cam and Chaz and whoever else will sort of make up
the top. What's going to happen with the
bunch.
Championship? Do you reckon Will's going to be able to hang on this time?
I don't know. I've known Will
you sprayed him pretty hard at the gala dinner last year about crumbling.
Yeah, I know.
Who was that guy that always fell? Was it Greg Norman? No, it wasn't Greg Norman. The choker.
I remember distinctively. Will actually shunted in the shootout at Gold Coast last year. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
On the Sunday, and it's actually pretty funny because I actually I think I got pole that one, and he's come in, he spun into the tyre barrier, not too much damage, just a bit of bodywork and stuff. And I'm like, what were you like? You're like 10 Ks up. He goes, oh, I don't even feel like I was even crashing. I'm like, that's generally what happens when you crash. You don't realize you're going to crash. Otherwise you wouldn't crash, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, God, that's dumb, isn't it? I said that. But, it'd be interesting. Yeah, he's always been really quick around there, so it'd be interesting to see how he goes. But I don't think those TEC cars were that strong around there last year, and they obviously struggled at Townsville, so it'd be interesting to see how they go.
Because they're it's just between the two of them really now, isn't it? Like, I suppose, like if you look at all the points and if they don't finish and whatever, but it's a big jump from Will to, is it Chaz third?
Yeah, I think Brock's second now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
do we know what the points difference is?
But one DNF, like,
how are we talking, like 200 points? 230.
So like one DNF and like it could be on again.
Yeah,
like,
you never know.
You put the pressure on going to Adelaide, 2 big races.
And there's always, turn 3 where we go onto the back straight along the beach there. I'm interested to see, the passing and these wheels are a bit interesting as well. It doesn't take much for a car to get turned into a helicopter. So yeah.
They do get a lot of wheel-to-wheel lifting now, don't we?
I hate these wheels.
These new rims, I think, if I could change one thing in supercars, it would be the rims. Because the rims protrude outside the tyre. And, we will talk about we want to have door-to-door racing, and that's probably the one thing that's stopping us from racing harder than where we are. And, like, I look at my incident with Whincup at Sandown, like, tried to lean on the door, make the pass happen, because it's pretty hard to get around.
Was it the exhaust that cut it, you reckon?
Yeah, it was actually the exhaust, yeah. But, I'll change that too. How about 2 things I'll change? But I think if we could tidy those 2 things up, I think we could have some seriously really good door-to-door racing because we can get closer. We're not getting as much dirty air like the old Gen 2 cars. So
we used to have that rule where the exhaust tip had to be like right inboard, didn't we? And they'd measure it. And...
Yeah.
Now it's just hanging out.
Now it's hanging out like a Mad Max machine.
Yeah, I don't remember them measuring it.
Back in the day, the old car. Maybe it was a bit before. Maybe it was the generation before that.
Showing your age.
The BA.
The old Y pipe.
Yeah. The BA. But yeah, so Gold Coast, similar sort of thing. Same guys. And then into Adelaide.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, won't it? So I reckon Gold Coast will really set the tone for the championship, I'd say. It sort of did for me last year, that Sunday, having that second result there. And I think Shane sort of slipped back a bit there. But, like anything could happen. 2 crazy racetracks, like Todd said, you can't make any mistakes. Otherwise, if you hit the wall, bite your heart around those places and you're pretty much DNF. So
I suppose the position that Cam and Chaz are in now and being strong at these next couple of circuits, they can afford to sort of lean on Brock and Will a bit more and probably pressure him into just letting him pass because Will's not going to want to fight with anyone, is he? He's just want to go.
Well, we don't know. I guess time will tell. But I'm not the championship either, so I'm just going out there trying to get some surfboards.
Oh, that's a given. You're the hardest ass racer out there. It's good.
sometimes too hard to get myself in trouble.
No, but I think one good
I think
thing
you're
about
actually the
racing-
hardest. You're the
just
biggest
an
prick
arsehole.
to race.
Yeah, I'm
Anytime
just an
your
arsehole.
car's any good, I hate racing you. I'm like, anytime I get near JC, it's like, for sakes, just you'll block or you have a sniff. You're up the inside from 3 car lengths
Right up
back.
a drain pipe, you reckon?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, those days are coming to an end. So,
Hey, Townsville wasn't too long. Actually, you might be a bit of a suspect. You're pretty good at Townsville, weren't you? You could qualify well.
Like even
qualified,
Gold Coast,
alright.
you always drag it into the shootout there, I
look,
reckon.
boys, I think I'm coming in for a strong finish to the season. So look out, I'll get in
Send it
amongst
through
those
that beach
championship
chain
boys. Yeah,
one more
just-
time.
Let's pluck 5th and just roll through there in 5th. See how we end up. But it's also, you can get involved in someone else's accident. Was it last year was it Jimmy that went through and punched that tyre
That was 2
the
years
year
ago
before?
now.
Yeah, 2022, yeah, that was bad.
Monstrous trouble here. That is an extraordinary incident.
I'm glad those tyres are gone now.
Yeah.
Are they gone? Or-
How?
Well, last year it was like when Dave and I were racing, I felt confident going behind him, because obviously you
It's
can't see the cars.
self-policing, really.
Oh, it is self-policing, yeah. Like even though we have the curb strikes through there, there's only really the first one on the right where we run over the flat curbs. That really should be the only one. The other one's self-police. But yeah, when I was racing Dave, I could actually, take a little bit more curb without having to write my car off and have another passing opportunity down there.
It was this race when Dave just went straight through turn 1 chicane, didn't he?
Yeah, like
Yes.
a couple laps in a row, yeah.
Right at the last lap too. So
Yeah,
he
he
couldn't
did
get
get the
it.
prick, yeah.
Yeah. How do you reckon they can fix that apart from just putting a wall there?
I don't
Because
really.
that's a thing. Because they save them up, and then
Yeah, I don't really know. It's sort of hard to.
Because there used to be a tie wall there back, say,
I think the
10,
first ever
15
time when
years
they
ago.
raced on the Gold Coast, they had grass, like fake,
Yeah.
grass turf in there.
Yeah,
And then obviously that stuff ripped out. And then we had like these big rubber things that were like, blah, 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 blah.
I reckon
And
if
you'd
you.
hit it. They were launching into the crowd.
I reckon it's like, like if you cut it obviously a little bit and you get a curb strike, like obviously, it's a curb strike. But if you cut it completely like he does, like we have to come up with some sort of where you have to do.
Because I don't think he even, that last lap, he just went straight through.
He
Didn't
just
even
went and
try.
set the fast lap
wouldn't
of
it
the
be
race.
crazy if, like Formula E, how you have to take like that outside
That's
line?
like the outside line.
Like imagine if you
around
went
the
to
next
turn
corner.
3 and you had to deliberately run wide. Like you'd lose a spot
Yeah,
straight
like,
away.
They do it in MotoGP.
That would stop you from doing it.
Like I hate
Jesus.
saying that out loud. I think like that's just fabricating fake racing.
The
but
nuts come up with an idea.
but like
Yeah.
it could be something
pretty
that
good,
would
isn't
it would actually make you want to make the apex.
Yeah, they do it in MotoGP as well with a long lap penalty. Like I think we're probably due for something like that at a track like that.
Jeez, that'd slow everyone up, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Like
so,
I understand if you have a little cut, but if you just went straight through
Yeah.
like he did, then you have to run around the white line. There you go, Mitch. Write that down. Get it
Out-
into
out
yeah,
Marbles.
trademark it.
yeah. Here's our DSO. I haven't
let's
been
get
there
it
that
in.
long. I was Beardo still.
we did actually speak to Beardo a bit after the last round, but there's obviously there's a lot of they have to go through the mitigating factors of safety and whatever else. But like at the end of the day, like we're racing each other at 200 k's an hour between walls. I'm sure we can figure it out.
But yeah, going back to it, it is a weekend where you can get involved in someone else's accident. So that's high chance of mixing it up as well. But
Good for the finale system.
we've got mail. Have you got questions, guys? I think they're for you guys anyway.
We've got a
so-
mailbag here, so
Yeah.
this will be
There's
interesting.
a few.
Postman Pat.
There's a few in here. I'm a bit scared to open some of these. We'll see. Should I give some to you? Or how many do we pick?
We've got Mitchell adjudicating.
How many's
us
in
here.
there, Bush?
There's like a lot.
I'm hearing a lot of rustling there.
All right. First
I
one.
don't even know if we've covered all these topics, but anyway.
Oh, this is a good one. I can't believe I picked this for the first one.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. From Ali, should the rule that main drivers have to start remain in place?
I understand why Supercars wanted to change it because it's our biggest event, and when people turn on, they want to see the names in the car. But it does take all the strategy out of it,
Yeah.
or a lot of strategy.
I think
not
for
all of it.
Bathurst, like Sandown, you're always going to probably start the coes unless you're in a really bad situation. But I think Bathurst, like that used to be the cool thing. Like you sit there on the grid, you'd have both drivers suited up. Oh, is he going to start or not? Like there's always that element of unknown.
It removes, like you said, I do understand, but also too, it's a catch-22. Like when the co-drivers are out there, TV can still come talk to us. It's not like we're locked up somewhere and can't speak to the TV. So I think, like you said, it ruins the strategic part of the racing. And I think I'd like to go back to the old way where
Because it
whoever
pretty
can
much
start.
locked everyone into the same thing on the weekend, didn't it? Like everyone, unless you're DJR and just got out of sync with everyone for
Yeah.
some reason. But
Between that and the full course yellows, everyone was on the stream.
Yeah.
They're pretty much the same strategy. So
And you could probably talk more to that point. You could arguably say, like, it was really only Cooper Murray and Lowndes that you could arguably say, like who was nominated as a main driver, but it was really Cooper that was nominated as a main driver, even though he had the co-driver status. So, and they blazed through the field and they passed cars. That was probably one of the only cars that was actually passing. So you could say proof is in the pudding. If you actually mix it up, we saw passing, we saw some action.
look at the nut. He's coming with some screamers today, isn't
Oh,
he?
he does, yeah. You should have seen him on the Monday morning trying to do the
It was
TV
the
interviews.
complete opposite.
Oh,
saw.
I had to kick him a couple of times and do the
Harley's
old fake.
social media, you guys were like sleeping in the car, doing interviews, laying down.
I
and
think
all
we
Yeah.
finished the Channel 9 one. I thought I was going to pass out.
Yeah, he spoke for that long. I thought he like deprived the whole area of oxygen because he just forgot what he was saying half the time.
Carl actually cut me off, which I thought was impressive.
It's a tough day at the office, and
Toddy, I've got to cut you off, mate. You've obviously taken the lion's share of talking this morning.
Right, what else we got? So I think we go on.
Yeah, what do you got there, Hazelnut?
So this is from David. JC, this is for you.
Oh,
Can the
Jesus.
Panthers make it a 5-peat next year?
Oh,
What does that
that's
even
not
mean?
even a question. It's
You're a big Panthers fan, aren't you? Well,
Yes.
your whole family is, aren't
yeah. I was born in Penrith, Nepean Hospital, mate. I don't have a choice.
Born and bred.
Yeah, but yeah, we're the world's greatest football team. We showed it over the last 4 years.
they? Very
Heard it here
very
first.
passionate Panthers fan. There we go.
No,
Right.
we're going to get Big Ivan Cleary in at BRT to sort it out.
Yeah, I've got here from Ryan. Brodie, were you nervous when Brock started closing the gap? Yeah, probably. I wasn't nervous.
Pressure makes diamonds, buddy.
That's right. That's why you get paid the big bucks, right? But no, it was that second last stint. Obviously, Brock was closing it a little bit. The car was a little bit unbalanced at the time, but yeah, we're trying to save a little bit of fuel in case there was a little bit of a late safety car, which there was. But no, it was all good in the end, all groovy.
It seemed so measured all day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like both you guys. Like it didn't look like it was hard.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's funny. Like you go through the weekend afterwards, and it's like didn't feel hard. But then last year it definitely felt hard, and we the whole race up. So, so
Just do it easy then.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
do the same. Just roll
do
out the
better.
same thing.
I hope it goes like that every time.
Yeah.
What else we got, Todd?
This one's from Haley. Opinions on the most green flag run race and how did it affect the strategy?
Hearing from what people are telling me, just because it wasn't, I think you guys have probably loved it being out in the front smoking away, but I think as a spectacle, that lack of closing the field up probably took a lot of potential passing and stuff out of it,
Yeah.
and strategy.
The truth is, regardless if there was safety cars or not, everyone was running the same strategy. So it started off with the fastest car on pole, then
Which was you?
which was us.
Who won the
and,
start?
I just won the start.
Who led
yeah.
every lap?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Who won?
that's
You guys.
That's
Boom.
right. It's end of the day. It's just how it works. We started off the front row, the fastest car. Everyone ran the exact same strategy, so there was no difference in strategy. So regardless if there was safety cars or not, there was going to be no passing, in my opinion. So
Do you reckon that's down to the cars all being identical too now? Like we're all running
Yeah.
the same stuff, so you can't design a different upright or any of that sort of stuff, so it
There's-
doesn't mix it up.
definitely that
I was
going
definitely
on.
going to say that.
Yeah, like
for
between
sure.
my car and Brock's car, they look pretty similar, like as far as how they made speed. So that was always going to be a mitigating factor. But the strategy thing in the full course yellows, we need to have a serious think about that because that's going to ruin the racing.
I concur.
Very good. All right, got one more here from Liam. How much of a weapon is Cooper Murray going to be in the future? Fantastic drive from him on Sunday. Yeah, I think we sort of touched on Cooper. Yeah, he was seriously fast at both events, wasn't he? Like fast at Sandown, past Supercars. Did the same on Sunday at Bathurst.
He's always got a nice hairdo. You
He's
notice?
fast with those ears tucked into that hat. He is aero.
Is he an ear tucker?
Oh, mate, hard tuck.
Yeah,
hard
right.
tuck.
Might have
In
to
his
have a chat to him
photos, he
about
looks
that.
like he's got a bit of crazy eyes too. Like I wouldn't want to.
He's
mess
very
with him.
dedicated. He's very dedicated, really, really dedicated to his racing. So
I don't think he's going to be quick. He's, it shows he's obviously talented. He's with a Triple Eight, which is going to be produce and deliver him a car that would be equal to the other two Red Bulls. Rolling into Erebus next year, where you guys are, it's clearly a good team. So he and with cars that are speedy. So look, I think he's going to be fine. It'll just be for him. It'll be his experience and managing those stressful. Like it's one thing chasing someone, but like being you leading the race and that experience that you've got over your time and your mature head and your racecraft, that's something that he's going to have to learn. Like, I don't think he could have delivered a result that like what you guys did on the weekend. That's only going to come with experience. But yeah, he'll be fast.
He's been given the word. He's got 3 years to
That's it.
to win a
Boom.
championship.
Well, you did it in 3, didn't you?
Yeah, so he's been given the hard word.
Easy,
So
right?
time will tell.
No, bang. Any more? Are we
Well,
good?
what else is in postman pad?
Oh, we've done the Gold Coast predictions. Mitchell, sorry. Who's going to win? The guy that goes over the finish line first at the Gold Coast will win. I'm predicting that.
How do you reckon the race will play out, though? It's going to be one of those things.
I reckon it might be a bit of carnage, just because
Yeah.
Bathurst was so cruisy.
You're going to see the same cars on the same strategy again, though, similar to, it's a pretty long
Imagine how
race.
many FYCYs or whatever the hell they're going to be up for everywhere with mirrors on the track and.
We may not get one. Well, they might do the NASCAR strategy
Imagine
when they
trying to
throw one.
deploy it through the beach chicane
Actually, it's probably.
or shortcutting under FCY. That would be interesting.
I might do what you did last year.
Oh,
Was
here
it
we go.
you last year that just drove through the chicane like flat out?
It wasn't last year, but
Was that the year before?
maybe.
I may have not done that. Yeah.
Can we get a cut of the footage of him just going flat?
I may have-
Did you get a black flag for that?
We were a long way down, and
then
I
you
had
caught right up.
engine temp issues, so I just kept driving
You-
through
you
until
went
someone
through
said
the
something.
backstreet
Mate, I
chicane.
did like 5 laps of an oval. No one said anything, so I just kept going. And then they're like, "Look, just slow down and just go through the chicane." I was like, "All right," because
That is awesome.
we had a drama and we had to pit, and then the leaders were catching us, and I didn't want to go a lap down, so I just like hooked through there like 5 laps in a row, and then they're like, "Right, now you've
Chase,
got
you
your
set the
gap."
fastest lap of the race.
Yes. But yeah, look, I think like we spoke about, I think Cam will probably come on. He's always has a great result around there. But my money is going to be on you. I think you'll.
Ooh,
I think this.
Pressure's on.
I think the start of the year, the way the last few rounds have gone, how dominant your performance both of you guys are, your confidence, and the way you're sort of carrying yourself is oozing. That you're at the top, you're comfortable, you're delivering. So, yeah, for me, it's going to be the Brodie show from here on the end of the year.
Well, I hope so. That'd be nice. Be a good way to send off with my current team, Erebus.
Yeah, and the big one into the end of the year. But we're getting wrapped up here, so I can't thank the Bathurst winners enough. Congratulations again, guys. It was super impressive all weekend, considering you had the and everything. That makes it even more impressive, but not a foot wrong. You guys nailed it. Smoked everyone. Congratulations.
No, thank you.
Nah, thanks, mate. And
You're a great host. I reckon you should do this more often.
Oh, we'll see what we can do.
Are we going to see a big TV career out of you soon? Or
We'll talk about that later off air, but that's all for the Drivers Only, episode 6. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks
Cheers.
for coming, guys.